everybody, Shifu the Cards here. I'm looking at another deck idea. This one will be called Better Living Through Alchemy. And it's going to be a look at a monster deck, but a little different monster deck than the normal monster decks, which is weather heavy, weather reliant. This one is going to be based simply around one card. It's going to be based around the Alchemist. And there are going to be more cards released. As of the time of this video, this was Gamescon Day 3, so a lot of new cards got released. And so there'll be more that come. But this is a early build of the deck. I think it's a pretty exciting little deck. I think it has pretty cool synergy, and I think it'll work really well. So the basic idea of an Alchemist is that 2 times the strength of all units without an ability on a row. So blank text. So common cards, like if you play any kind of other card games. So this is the monster decks are known for having weather abilities or muster abilities, and so doing a monster deck without abilities is a little challenging, also a little exciting. So let's take a look at it and see how we did. And of course, please leave your feedback. I'd like to thank GwentDB.com for having this amazing tool. If you haven't visited yet, please sign up. It's through Curse Gaming. You sign up, make an account. You can vote on my decks. I'd appreciate that. Shameless plug. Or you can make your own decks, and we can all vote on them as well. Also, please join our Gwent Discord server. Some notable people in there, some great people in there. King Blacktooth, if you have not seen his videos, he's amazing. A Round of Gwent has a great website called A Round of Gwent. Mahakman Guard is there as well. Deviz, some great people in there. Sorry if I left everybody out. But so this deck, Better Living Through Alchemy, is focused on the Alchemist. And as such, we have to have cards without flavor text. Now, this is achieved in 2 ways. 1, just straight up cards without flavor text, or 2, cards that summon cards without flavor text. So, for example, the first card you're going to see is a Jade Golem. Now, it has flavor text. Death Wish, a lesser, remove, spawn 2 lesser Jade Golems. Well, in this case, what you want it to do is go away and then spawn the 2 lesser golems, which would then be pumped up through the Alchemist. You kind of understand the point. So how you could do that is you just decoy it away. So you have a Jade Golem, play the Jade Golem, decoy it. When the Jade Golem comes back to your hand, 2 lesser Jade Golems will appear without any text, which then will be pumped up through your Alchemist. Much the same way with Prize Winning Cow. Prize Winning Cow has text. But when you take it away, it spawns a Chort, and that Chort has 10 strength and is a beautiful card, by the way, if you haven't seen it, which will then get pumped up through your Alchemist. And then, so we go to the next row, Alchemist again. We go through a Griffin. The Griffin just 8 cost card with no flavor text, and that sheep is just having a bad day. It's all the other sheep have run, or at least 2 of them run. The other one looks kind of confused, and that one eating is just really unaware of the pain that's coming. So he gets pumped up through that. So the Griffin's in there, and then plus they're big 8 strength characters, irregardless of which, I mean, they are huge strength characters, so you pump them up 2 times, that's a 16s. So yes, please. Now, Grave Hag, I'll go more into this in a second, but the point of this is you're going to see a lot of cards in my deck that have text that we want them to go away. We want them to go to the graveyard so that they spawn creatures that we can then pump up through our Alchemist. Well, the Grave Hag does is banishes those units that we don't need anymore that have the flavor text and pumps herself up, and she just kind of works as a way of saying, well, you know, you've used your purpose, let me use you yet again. So she's like the ultimate recycler for the deck. She's like, well, you know, you served your purpose, you know, Jade Golem, you've summoned 2 lesser golems that the Alchemist has pumped up. Well, so the Grave Hag is then going to eat them, which you know, Circle of Life Hunter. She's going to eat them and get stronger as well, so the synergy. Leshen. Spawn and play 3 wolves, also place on both players, and 2, I think he spends also a bear, if I believe correctly, because there's also a 2. Also place on both players' range rows. So they're going to get it 2, the wolves, if I read that correctly, but we don't care, because ours are going to get pumped up through alchemy. Theirs are just going to be wolves. It's not going to really hurt them because they don't have alchemists. So, you know, either way, we're still getting a pump-up ability with it. But I think he summons a bear as well, if I'm not mistaken. So again, another Alchemist, and then once again, you see more Golems. And again, the Golems spawn 2 lesser Golems. So the Golems will go to the graveyard, our Grave Hag will eat them, they'll leave 2 lesser Golems on the board, which get pumped up through Alchemist. You get the idea. Because if you look at it just on stat-wise, a Golem is worth 4 strength. It'll summon 2 lesser Golems of 2 strength each. which will then be 2 lesser golems at 4 strength each because of the Alchemist. So you're getting a 4 value card that separates into 8 points. So much better. Then you're looking at, again, a Wyvern. Beautiful picture, and the card art is amazing. Just a little shout out. The card art is phenomenal, especially the foil or special cards. Oh, just beautiful. Gwent is truly a cut above every other card game. But 8 points right there. It'd be a 16 point with the Alchemy. Gauntro Dim spawns 2 shadows and 2 ranged and 1 shadow melee. The shadows have no text, therefore they get pumped up through Alchemy. Gauntro Dim goes to the graveyard. The grave hag could eat him. Manticore, beautiful picture just on its own, and it's a 12th. So Scorch protection for the deck, or also a 24-point character. This is a character that I was very excited to see in Gamescon. I love the story of the Bloody Baron, and I love this idea, and I'm sure we're going to see it more throughout Gamescon, of like choices that you were able to take in The Witcher 3. So if you had some choices in The Witcher 3, it would become a botchling, or some choices would be a lubricant, which are 2 different types of creatures. And so in this case, though, either way you get, we probably want a botchling for 4 because it's resilient, and you stay on the board. Well, in this case, maybe because you usually wouldn't get a point, but it would still get something on the board. It would leave something behind, still be worth 4 points, still be something that could be pumped up with other tokens. So it gives you an idea. Or we can do a lubricant. It gives us flexibility, where we can get another creature from the graveyard that we didn't eat through the Grey Hag. Let's say they scorched something, and we had a decoy we could bring back. We could bring back one of these big ol' Manticores or Griffins or Wyverns from the lubricant. So it gives us a little flexibility with a decoy for one of our big creatures. Or really what it does, the lubricant, is it gets us back our Alchemist, because people are going to target these Alchemists, and we need a way to get them back. So the Bloody Baron gives us a way to bring back the Alchemist. Obviously, in your starting hand, you have to have an Alchemist, or 2 would not hurt in your starting hand to make this deck work and sing. And of course, decoys are your ability to split the creatures. Like, for example, you could play a cow, decoy it, play another cow, decoy it, and you have 2 big 10 creatures, which would be nice. Your spores are there to pump up the lesser creatures. The golems, in case the Alchemist goes away, it's a backup plan for the Alchemist, and the Alchemist doubles it, but then it goes into Commander's Horns range. So you have a lot of different things. Caretaker. I keep saying Gravedigger. Caretaker, take any card from your opponent's graveyard, play it instantly. So what that could mean is, let's say you're playing against a Skellige graveyard deck. Well, you could just take one of their creatures and play it on your side. Or if they're playing a card, you could put a Priestess of Freya. You could then take a Priestess of Freya and put one of your cards and bring it back. Caretaker gives you a lot of options going against other different characters. Let's say you're going against, it allows you to pick and choose. Let's say you happen to go against a high archer that doesn't have any text. You can then pick from their graveyard something that would synergize well with your deck. We give you more abilities there. So it just gives you a little bit of punch and a little bit of takedown. Now, you probably notice, well, there's no weather. You don't have any kind of control. Well, we don't really want control. We want the ability to swarm the board and just be stronger through Alchemy. It's dangerous, but it's doable. Now, our hero allows us to search for any weather effect. If you notice, I only have 1 weather effect. That's all the weather effect I need. Clear skies. If somebody tries to snow us down or rain us or fog us, we clear the skies and we move on. They have 2, then good on them, they win. Also, what this allows us to do is stuff monster weather decks. So we just go for the clear skies, we use it strategically, we try to ascertain whether they are going to try to control us. So it's an anti-control. We only need 1, because we're just going to go for that 1 via the hero ability. And we clear out any kind of problems in our deck. And that is how the deck works. It's basically Alchemy. You want cards that have text that then you can remove, that you can then split into cards that don't have text. You want the cows, the golems. Then you have other cards that are just big, that when they get pumped up are just monstrous. The wyverns, the griffins, the manticore. Just big creatures that get pumped up through alchemy. Then you have Gaunter Den that summons creatures, Leshens that summons creatures, Surprise Cow that leaves creatures, and then the Bloody Baron brings the lubricant that allows you to get back one of your alchemists, or if you happen to get another one, you have two, you can really do some damage with alchemists on different rows. So it's a deck designed around alchemy. Now, what happens if you don't get alchemy, an alchemist in your hand? Then it's going to be a little tough, but that's why you have, mushrooms and commander's horns. You can still win just with the outright strength of the deck, with the wyverns and the griffins and the grave hags and the leshens and the cows. There's still enough strength in here to where you can still pull it out. But yes, if you do not get one of these alchemists, then you are going to have a harder time to win when you kind of build a deck around a certain theme. So you want to desperately try to get an alchemist in your hand. That's why you want to limit the amount of cards that are in the hand. But you do have backup plans, like I said, with the Commander's Horn and the mushrooms. And if you play wisely, you should be able to counteract the fact that you don't get an alchemist. But it is centered around an alchemist, therefore it is a little dangerous. But you can, if you get that alchemist or two in your hand, you will roll people. So alchemists and decoys are your friends, and then you just unleash carnage and you surprise them by your ability. Now, the only thing that could kill an alchemist would be plague cards. So if that becomes a thing, then you may want to really try to get a Bloody Baron in your hand as well to get that lubricant to get the alchemist back. But that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it, or used the Gravedigger Caretaker to get one of their graveyard manipulation cards into your deck so you can then pull the alchemist back. So that's where you want to protect the alchemist. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm Shifu of the Cards. This is a look at my second deck in the series, Better Living Through Alchemy, a monster-based non-weather deck, which I think is pretty unique and pretty interesting build, to say the least. Please go to gwentdb.com to vote on this deck, or to make your own decks. We can vote on it, look at it. Please like and subscribe. It means a whole lot. I appreciate all the support I've been getting. And, hey, Shifu of the Cards signing out. Y'all have a great day. Alright, let's see where we're at. Let's see where we're at. Alright, so now we go back. For those of you that are watching, I think it's